Okay, today we talk about part 2 about Mao Zedong. So, from internal purge to the cultural revolution, Catastrophic part 1 explore the early campaigns that set the stage for the Mao's high-pressure governance. Okay, part 2 examines the campaign to eliminate counter-revolutionaries, the Anti-Rightist Campaign, the Great Famine, and the Cultural Revolution, revealing how those events escalate social trauma, claiming tens of millions of lives, and affecting countless others. First, campaign to eliminate counter-revolutionaries, expanding internal purge from the 1955 to 1957. The CCP launched the campaign to eliminate counter-revolutionaries, to rule out hiding counter-revolutionaries and Taiwan spies within party organs, revolutionaries groups, and democratic fashion, sparked by the case of the Fen counter-revolutionary clique. The campaign swipes through 18 million state employees. Mao set a target of identifying about 5% by elements, promoting widespread investigation. According to Public Security Minister Luo Chuanqing, the campaign uncovered over 100,000 counter-revolutionaries, including 5,000 party members, and 260 counter-naval cordial. Declassified archives reveal that 1.4 million intellectual and cordial were targeted, with 240,000 arrested, and 22,000 executed, and 53,000 dying unnaturally. The campaigns arbitrarily produced countless injustice, ruining lives on the baseless charges. This purge not only cleansed the parties, but also foreshadows the Anti-Rightist Campaign as the international and cadres grow weary of political trips. 2. The Anti-Rightist Campaign. The devastation of Inatra's 1957, fearing a hungering styles international revolt, the CCP initiated the ratification and Anti-Rightist Campaign. Mao employed luring snakes out of their holes tactic, encouraged internationals to critique the party, only to label them rightist. When they did, by May 1958, official figures reported 3.178 million people branded rightist, with 22,071 rightist groups and 4,127 anti-party cliques identified. After the Cultural Revolution, the CCP began rehabilitation in the 1978, removing the rightist label from the 552,973 individuals, with a misclassification rate of 99.998%. By the mid-1990s, fewer than 1,000 rightists remained. This suggests that approximately 2.62 million internationals vanished during this campaign, likely dying in labor camps, struggle sessions, or by suicide. Their fates remain a historical mystery. The Anti-Rightist Campaign silenced China's international community, steadily dissented, and paved the way of cultural stagnation. Great Famine, a man-made disaster from the 1959 to the 1961. China suffered a catastrophic famine triggered by the Great Leap Forward. Urban residents survived on the ration food, while royal peasants, after exhausting meager supplies, resorted to eating grass, bark, and in extreme cases, human flesh. Estimates of the death toll vary. Declassified CCP files report over 37.558 million deaths, where scholars like Ding Su-yuan, Lang Ping, and Frank Ducrot estimate 35 to 45 million, with at least 40 million likely. The famine's cause was not natural disaster of a silver debt, as the CCP claimed, but a policy failure. The one-party system suppressed freedoms of speech, movement, and information, leaving presidents and courtiers powerless to correct errors. Exaggerated production reports, reckless directive, and excessive grain requisitions depleted food supplies, turning royal China into a wasteland. The Cultural Revolution, a decade of catastrophic, the Cultural Revolution between 1966 to 1976, launched by Mao and the Central Cultural Revolution Group, was the zenith and the tragedy of his era. Intended to purge capitalist rule within the party, it spiraled into nationwide violence and chaos. Traditional culture was demolished, artifacts destroyed, and millions persecuted. Death toll estimates vary. Fairbank suggests over 1 million. Deng Shu estimated 2 million. Su Yang calculates 750,000 to 1.5 million rural deaths, and the R.J. Roma perceived 7.73 million. In the 1978, Yi Jianying reportedly said 20 million deaths and 100 million persecuted, so this was not an official document. In 1980, Deng Xiaoping called the death toll astronomical, handing an even higher figure. The Cultural Revolution not only claimed lives but also fractured social trust, leaving wounds that persist conclusions. The heavy toll of history together pass and chronicles the Mao era campaigns from the suppression to the Cultural Revolution that caused an estimated 60 to 80 million unnatural deaths and afflicted 250 to 300 million people, over half the population. While data varies due to the limited records, the scale of a tragedy is undeniable. Early campaigns eliminated all elites. The Korean War and the 5 anti-drained resource, purge and anti-rightist silence internationals, and the famine and the Cultural Revolution pushes suffering to its peak. Historical research continues, with many truths still buried. Those numbers compel us to ask not only what happened, but why and how to prevent such a tragedy in the future. So as you can see, that we can judge based on what happened in the history, and to make your own decision what kind of man Mao truly is. Thank you so much.